This video is sponsored by Raid: Shadow Legends. On November 10th, Netflix released the trailer for the upcoming prequel series The Witcher: Blood Origin. While the project may have looked like a good idea when it was planned and greenlit, it could not have come out at a worse time in light of Henry Cavill recently quitting the role. Worse yet, awareness is now spreading about what we've been saying all along. Namely that Cavill did not quit The Witcher in order to reprise Superman, but because the writers and showrunners of The Witcher actively dislike the source material. For Netflix, the ones footing the bill for both Blood Origin and the future seasons with Liam Hemsworth, this is a nightmare. In this video, we will begin by briefly revisiting the real reason why Henry Cavill left, why the ensuing fan revolt is a worst-case scenario for Netflix, and finally, why all of this could prove to be a good thing in the long run. What this all means though is that while The Witcher isn't technically over at Netflix, it's kind of over. Don't fret though, because there is something else in the realm of fantasy that fires on all cylinders. That would be the greatest mobile game of all time, Raid: Shadow Legends, the sponsor of this video. Raid's got more than 600 awesome champions, which come from unique factions, each with their own history in the world of Teleria. My favorite faction is the High Elves, and they have an awesome backstory. They survived the fall of the Lizardmen Empire. They helped the humans in shaping civilizations, and defeated the orcs when their horde attacked the continent. Things got twisted when Sirath, the Lord of Darkness, subverted a number of elves, which sparked a civil war. But the elven realm Aravia survived and is now stronger than ever, defended by awesome champions such as Jingle Hunter, Battle Sage, and Exemplar. So, what's new? Well, this month is huge for Raid. They just released a brand new faction, the Sylvan Watchers, with some amazing new champions. Forest Elves, Ents, Druids, Faes, they're all here, waiting to be summoned. And if that's not enough, Raid's got a full lineup of events, along with a new season of the Forge Pass, where you can get your hands on some of the most powerful gear the game has ever seen. Also, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get your exclusive rewards in Raid right now. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click our link in the description or scan our QR code here on screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Rector Drath, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and an ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in-game. All of this treasure will be waiting for you right here, but only for the next 30 days, so use our QR code or the link in the description and order now. With that, let's revisit why Henry Cavill dropped out of The Witcher in the first place. On October 29th, Netflix dropped the official press release stating that Henry Cavill has dropped out of The Witcher from Season 4 onwards, at which point he'll be replaced by Liam Hemsworth. Many jumped to the conclusion that he had dropped out of The Witcher because he was returning to Superman, but someone pointed out that juggling the two, with some goodwill from both Warner and Netflix, should have been perfectly doable. As we pointed out, however, Superman only came together very recently, while his deciding to leave Netflix must have happened a long time ago, since they already had his replacement up and ready to go. Indeed, it has later emerged that he was leaving The Witcher anyway. Henry Cavill was always a fan of The Witcher books and games, and only agreed to commit to the Netflix series for the long haul if the showrunners treated the material right. Alas, they demonstrated very early on that they had no such intention. The Witcher writers and showrunners were always public about how important it was to them that the story, based around Polish folklore and Slavic mythology, reflect the world we live in. Which in reality means they wanted to reflect the postcode in LA that they live in. Not just in terms of on-screen demographics, but also in terms of socio-political messaging. This evidently included sidelining Henry Cavill altogether, functionally making him but a co-star, while they gradually but increasingly shifted the focus more and more towards the female leads, relegating Cavill to the background. Just like a number of recent Marvel productions, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness comes to mind, it was the perfect bait and switch. Use a marquee name like Henry Cavill to draw fans in, but once the viewers were there, place him firmly in the background while the writers told the female stories they wanted to tell. Because they clearly did not intend to tell any more proper Witcher tales. Bo DeMaio, the current head writer of Marvel's upcoming animated revival X-Men 97, used to work on The Witcher, and he revealed that the writers there actively mocked the source material. A mentality which he believes is the death knell of any given production, which indeed it creatively has been for The Witcher, as the writers turned it into a subversive, bad faith adaptation. We have since heard rumors that Cavill wanted to drop out already during the making of Season 2. But because of the way the Netflix contracts are set up, after Season 3 may have been his first opportunity to jump ship. The fact that these writers and showrunners decided to proceed with more seasons and recast him only goes to show how little they cared for his character in the first place. They never intended for him to do more than to stand in the proverbial background while the lady stories were told, and Liam Hemsworth can stand in the background every bit as good as Henry Cavill can. The writers no doubt hope that over the course of the yet-to-be-released Season 3, the bait and switch will have been pulled off, to the point that the fans are so invested in the female stories these writers wanted to tell that they won't care that the male co-star Henry Cavill is being recast with Liam Hemsworth for Season 4. Could they be right? As soon as fans learned what had actually happened, a petition was set up demanding that Netflix fire these toxic writers and instead bring back Henry Cavill. That petition itself is obviously not going to do anything, but that it, at the time of making this video, is fast approaching 300,000 signatures is a big black eye where publicity is concerned. Because it does provide a pretty clear indication that the fans were there for Henry Cavill's Witcher, and not for what the writers wanted to subvert The Witcher into. Another indication of just that is the release of the trailer for the prequel miniseries The Witcher Blood Origin. Set more than 1,000 years before the proper Witcher series, it was never going to feature Henry Cavill. But that's alright, because it instead has lots and lots of diversity. Star Trek Discovery's Michelle Yeoh and Lenny Henry of recent Lord of the Rings of Power fame. Or rather, of recent Rings of Power stigma, because that abomination in the eyes of Tolkien will not further the careers of anyone involved with it. And indeed, that trailer, which has more than 1 million views at the time of making this video, has been ratioed pretty badly. And you'll be hard-pressed to find a comment that in any way, shape or form is excited about either Blood Origin or the future of The Witcher on Netflix at large. Instead, satire at Netflix and the writer's expense is the order of the day. Indications are Blood Origin is going to be a huge failure for Netflix, and even if Cavill is in the as of yet unreleased Season 3, I question how many will watch it from beginning to end, knowing that Cavill dropped out after it. And Season 4? If Netflix has any sense, they'll pull the plug and fire all of these writers before they throw more good money after bad. Let's face it, despite having had Henry Cavill, despite having source material with an active fan base, these toxic writers and showrunners snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, and they did so at Netflix's expense. The Netflix iteration of The Witcher will go down in history as a failure. But there is a silver lining. While this will be of little comfort to the genuine fans of The Witcher, which is beyond rescue on Netflix, this is, if nothing else, yet another data point that proves what happens when you let toxic creatives have their way with and subvert established franchises, instead of just doing straight-up adaptations. Many such data points will be needed to force any meaningful change, but we are starting to reach the point where the industry is beginning to notice. The Witcher was one of Netflix's really big investments, and it is currently blowing up in their face for entirely obvious reasons. I say good riddance, and I hope its failure stings. Because then maybe, just maybe, Netflix and others like them will think twice about hiring these toxic creators who are only in it for the subversion. Maybe they will realize that treating the source material with respect is the way to go. It is to hope. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And before you go, use the QR code or the link in the description and get started on Raid Shadow Legends now.